BatForceRadio.
BatForceRadio is rated M for mature. Or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Wynn.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to BatForceRadio.
And you're listening to BatForceRadio.
You're listening to BatForceRadio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to BatForceRadio, so stay tuned.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the second episode of Everything Batman. I'm your host, Everything Batman. Also on the show, we have our co-host, BatForce Tom.
What's up, guys?
And special guest from the BatForceRadio team, Gramps.
Hey, guys.
And our second guest on our second episode, you guys might recognize some of his cosplay as Deathstroke, Wolverine, most importantly for us, the Dark Knight himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Knight Rises, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks for taking time out of your day to, just hang out with us and kick it. So of course, I always start with this. I think I've been following you for about maybe 2 years. There was this one photo that I saw, and I believe it was you as the Dark Knight himself and Carrie Kelly. I believe the cosplayer was it Vixie Cosplay or something like that?
Cosplay.
And I think Gramps shared it in his story. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing.
When I saw that, I was like, that is the best Dark Knight Returns Batman, period.
Yeah, it was so freaking good.
You see a lot, but it's like, this dude nailed it.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
I was like, I'm going to steal his suit if I ever see him.
And I'll lend it to you if you want.
I'll taller you because I'll try to fit in it too.
6'1". I'm 6'1".
6'7", man.
Oh, you're 6'7". Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it.
That's why he's the Dunk Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be a problem. I might have to my boots might not see the rest of the suit. But yeah, that was kind of like the beginning of my fandom of following you. And then after that, I was holy crap! Look at all these great pictures and stuff that he has, great content, different characters. So of course, that leads to this question. So, what's your origin story to getting into cosplay? Like, what got you into cosplay?
So I used to, and I think some of you guys do it as well. I was a huge comic art collector, and so really started probably getting heavy into it into the early 90s, where you could still get a really nice piece of art for, this is pre-eBay. And probably around the mid 90s, like 96, I guess I started noticing, but it seemed like some cosplayers were starting to show up at shows. And I was like, man, I would really dig to do that. I would really dig doing that. I love the art, but fuck, I want to be Batman. Oh, sorry. Can you bleep me? Are you guys able to bleep me?
You can say fuck, shit, whatever you want, man. Just don't hurt Just don't hurt people's feelings.
So again, vicariously just watching and watching and watching. And right around I guess for a while, right around 2013, 2014, finally put together the Dark Knight Rises / the Christian Bale suit, the second suit, and went to a show. My wife actually dressed up as like a Martha Wayne, but she didn't know she was Martha Wayne. And
surprise,
dude, I couldn't move 4 feet. I mean, it just blew up. I would every 2 or 3 steps. Can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? And it's a little addictive, like that type of attention. Especially, I'll tell you what, as a regular guy, I don't get a lot of attention in general, especially female attention. I got to watch my voice. My wife's in the other room. It was so I came back a couple years later with a Deadpool. If you follow my page, And early on, there's some guys out in LA. They do a little bit of work with some of the studios. They worked on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, and they threw together this Deadpool costume for me. And I mean, dude, you wouldn't know. You know, I had people all the time asking me with the mask on if I was Ryan Reynolds. Are you Ryan Reynolds under there? Are you Ryan Reynolds? So I think from there, I started seeing that they would actually at different conventions. Well, maybe to back up one step, my Instagram was really weak. My Facebook, I had a Facebook business page that I completely deleted because it was a train wreck. It really was a lot of pictures at conventions, and you know, usually early on when you start cosplaying, you want that really great action pose with someone, and then you know when you see it, it just doesn't look the way you had it pictured in your head. But I started saying these guys get paid to go to these shows, and back to, I'm sorry, jumping back and forth a little bit.
That's all right.
I wanted to get my photos posted on these bigger Instagram feeds, and I finally got a hold of this guy and worked with this really amazing photographer. And they were just like, dude, you're just going about it all wrong. You know, your stuff needs to be professional. It needs to be a professional photo. You need to credit the photographer. And maybe after one or two photo shoots, I just started hustling through different convention promoters. There's two really big ones, Fan Expo, that own a lot of shows throughout the U.S. And then the real big one is Reed Pop, who owns like Star Wars Celebration, New York Comic Con, yeah, Emerald City Con, WonderCon, and on and on. So that was kind of what got the ball rolling, and it kind of turned into after I got my wits about me, I treat it a lot like a business, even though I have a blast doing it, and it's truly a hobby. But the only way to really I think to have any kind of success, because it's very competitive, it can be the cosplay community can be a little well, competitive. I was going to say cutthroat, but competitive. So you really, you know, you have to have a little bit of a strategy of and a lot of politics to kind of be able to get to do things without having to dump a bunch of money on doing them.
Interesting. Nice. So all this started from something you saw in the 90s. Then you enjoyed getting the attention, and pretty much created a business out of it, or at least some type of income. Side gig, definitely. That's awesome, and you're enjoying it. It's always fun to make money when you're having a good time.
I love it. I love it.
So like, all right. So how do you pick your characters? Because you know, like you said, you started out with Batman, then you did a Deadpool thing. Like how do you pick your characters for photo shoots / Comic Cons? Yeah,
I only do so going back to, and I think probably, I bet we'd all agree, started with comic books at a very young age. Actually, before I could read, like when I was about 4 or 5, I had comic books just looking at the pictures. And then I'm a little older than you guys, I think. So like 66 Batman, they were showing reruns in the 70s at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So when I started cosplaying, picking characters is genuinely only a character I love, because I think to take it to a next level, you have to be in character as the character. So, you know, there's anime characters people have asked me to do, or like All Might from My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool show. I could put it together. I could do it. But it's not here. It's not here. So with Batman, and maybe like a little bit of a side thing, and is I can always identify. My parents actually died when I was 15, about 3 months apart.
Oh wow!
There's this. I guess emotionally inside, you're going through this. Maybe the best way to put it is maybe a little bit of what Batman goes through, a duality. You know, what the world sees who the world sees and then who's really in here. And, you know, even with another reason why I love Batman, the real Bruce Wayne is the Batman. The character is Bruce Wayne, right? The alter ego is Bruce Wayne, not Batman. Batman's the real guy.
Yeah.
I could relate to that. I could identify with that. So that would be, you know, one why you see I do a lot of Batman. I've always been a fan of kind of rub shoulders with and have I would say an acquaintance friendship with Rob Liefeld. Always, you know, and again, going back to the 90s and when I was collecting art, you know, Rob Liefeld was, you know, a rock star back then. Well, he still kind of is to me. And so Deadpool was a labor of love. The Red Hood, just another badass character. Dexter Soy, the artist on that, and Scott Liddell, who used to do X-Men, has just done some amazing X-Men work. Again, love the character. Felt a little awkward when I was originally doing it just because of my age again, but I had a mask on, so you know it was cool. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, always a big fan. We'll talk about that. I've got some plans down the road with that. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And with all those, I always wanted to, it's again, going back to competitiveness, but I can't say that I have an original idea in my head. Anytime I'm getting ready to put a cosplay together, I want to find who's the best, who really has just done an amazing job with it. And then take what I like from their work or take what I like from multiple people's work and then kind of climb on their shoulders and put together where I feel where the level is that I think it should be, at least to my standard.
That's actually perfect. So like you're saying, like you look at other people's work. So obviously there's other people that you see that you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. Let's see if I could replicate or do something better than that. Are there any other cosplayers that you follow that you look forward to as like guidance or like as motivation when it comes to cosplay? So
it's one, and it's Saddle Up. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Saddle Up. Mm-hmm. So really good guy. When I was first starting to put together my first Dawn of Justice suit, and a lot of cosplayers, again, it's real competitive. You know, they're not going to be telling you where they're getting this or where they're getting material or what they're doing for a muscle suit. And I think the guy might really be Bruce Wayne himself, because like I would shoot him a direct message through Instagram at like 2:00 in the morning, and he'd answer me like 5 minute later. And then, like,
yeah, he doesn't sleep.
I'd get up and it'd be like 7 in the morning, and I'd thank him for the message, and he'd message me right back. But Sod was a lot of help and an inspiration. And then there's this female cosplayer who really I started off as a fan of, and originally when I was following her and just looking at her work, I had no idea that we lived in the same town. I had no idea that our paths would ever cross and that we would be as good of friends as we are today. Is Allison Tabitha. I don't know if you guys ever look at any of her stuff, dude.
Yes, she is phenomenal. Yeah.
Let me tell you something about that girl, dude. She gets it. And when I say she gets it, when you get the privilege to do one of those shows and stand up there all day, and people are coming up and they're asking to take a picture with you, or they're buying a picture of you and asking for your autograph, the only reason you get to do that is because of them. Because of the fans. And man, you got to like remember where you came from. And she is like one of the few, and she's definitely a huge name cosplayer that is an inspiration, and it sets a great example of how to treat other people. And then outside of that, she's the same. She's nutty as hell. I mean, dude, like you'll be at we do this thing in Orlando called Give Kids the World, and we well, not since COVID, but before that we would go and we would do this, and you know, after the kids would shuffle out and go to breakfast or whatever, she'd like rip a fart in a freaking Wonder Woman. God's or my nose. Like every time I wear a cowl, the cowls like push over my nose. So I'd have snot dripping on my nose, and she'd take like her bare hand and wipe my nose, like wipe the snot off my nose, and then wipe it on my cape.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a woman.
She is, yes, absolutely.
I just recognized her. I don't know who does her makeup, but
she does.
Okay. The way she can make herself look like literally anyone is insane.
She's a chameleon. It's insane.
She really is. It's funny, I'll tell you. So talking about that competitive piece. So when I did Cable, when I cosplayed as Cable, I was like, Allison, you got to show me what to do so I can look like Josh Brolin. Dead silence, nothing. So she'll help you if you want to watch a YouTube tutorial. And if I was going to build a Wonder Woman costume, I'm good. I'm solid. But anything else, not a lot of support. Not a lot of support.
That's awesome. Which leads to the next question. That's awesome because Saad and I haven't spoken to Allison yet, but Saddle Up I talked to from time to time, especially after the Kobe incident a year ago. He was a big Laker fan. Him and I just exchanged a lot of conversation back and forth. Great guy. Again, like I'll message him at 3:00 in the morning and get an answer. I'm like sleeping, and then I wake up like at 6:30, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, all right, cool. Let me answer him back. Great dude. So this goes to the next question is, so like, how do you create your cosplay? Because like there's so many avenues to it. There's people you could go and order stuff from. There's people you go and get things that are tailored to yourself. And there's a lot of people who do things they're on their own. Do you create or like pretty much like sew anything together or work anything together? Or like
I do. And so once I started getting into like closer to like the Affleck Dawn of Justice Batman was the first one that I started looking at. Who did what parts right? Who made the right material? Whose material was the closest? Who made a good muscle suit? So early on, like if you were
wait, that's not your real muscles.
It's not. It's
I'm
not
like, how much do you bench, bro?
We're done.
Ben, you guys know Ben wore a muscle suit, right? When he did Batman and Dawn of Justice. Yeah,
he had to.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because sometimes at a show people really do think that they want to come up and start squeezing it. Oh, that's foam. I thought that was your real muscles.
Well, I'll tell you, when I watched the Shazam movie, I really thought at first Zach Levi was just yoked, and then I met him and I was like,
the string bean.
They got me.
He's super thin.
Yeah,
he's a good guy too. Like he gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's another one. He gets it. Like he's really a good guy. So I would look at, and I still do when I'm putting something together, and I go, all right, so who makes the best material? Whose muscle suit do I like for this? With boots, do I need parts for boots? Some 3D printing I'll do myself. Actually, on the Dark Knight Returns, I used a guy out of Australia for that belt, and if you ever look at the belt, it is spot on with the Prime One Studios Dark Knight Returns statue. I mean the belt's exact. And so then I've got a body suit with a 4-way stretch material, a bunch of foam muscles. I go out and buy like just a regular old spandex dice, not a dye sub, but just a straight gray suit. And you start off by gluing the muscles on. You have to cut them up a little bit, and you have to get in it and have your wife or your friend put them where they fit right, where they're in the right places, so you don't have your abs, too far above your dick or anything like that, And so
your dick above your abs, or
exactly.
Dick through your abs.
Well, you got a cape on, so you hide that. So
that's what it's for.
That's what it's for. So with something like that, it is acquiring a bunch of different pieces, and maybe similar to putting together a model car when you're a teenager, to where something that was a little more that nobody could do what I wanted. I don't think I sent you guys any shots of Cable, but if anybody ever looks at my Instagram. That arm was built from scratch. So the complete arm, like that costume was everything. Well, I mean, the shoes were tactical shoes and tactical pants. Everything that I used for that were real magazines from 9mm. I mean, everything from it was.
There's no metal detectors.
No, listen, you want to hear? I'll tell you a secret about that. So when you're guesting at a show, you can go in the day before and set up early. So any of that shit, I'd sneak it all in. It's in boxes under the table. Guns under the I mean, not real guns, but guns. You know, at one time I did Eric Killmonger. I felt a little awkward doing that one, but I did Eric Killmonger and I had these long spears, the machete and the spearhead. I had to sneak them in a box and had them under the table. So, yeah, I couldn't get through the metal detector. And I've seen people stopped, even guests, where they're like, no, you can't bring those, even though those guns are not real, you can't bring those in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's how you sneak your booze in too.
Yeah, with that, it's you just get those things off Amazon, the little Coke can thing,
nice.
right around. Got you covered.
Or just get your little shooters and throw them in little comic boxes and just like whatever. So, damn. So you make a good portion of your cosplay.
What I always look at is who does the best work on something, and if it depends. Like there's a vast array of choices. But then again, you know, like I hit a brick wall on doing that robotic arm for Cable, and rose to the challenge. I think it came out. I mean, I was really, really happy with it. I actually used a bunch of dishwasher hose and wiring cables that you cover wires with. It's I think to really get a really superior finished product, you want to look to do what you do and do what you do well and delegate the rest.
Nice.
Or buy the rest.
Buy the rest. So on that, how long does a cosplay take for you to make? Like between having an idea, like do you give yourself, all right, a Comic-Con's 9 months from now, I got to get this shit started right now. Like what's the timeline in that?
So
and give us some examples.
Absolutely. So the first thing that you're going to do with that is you got to have a backup. You got to have something, you know, you got to have a backup. Depending on what, let's use a Dark Knight Returns. So I wanted it ready for MegaCon, and I want to say it was 2017 or 2018. What is it? It's 2021. It was 2018. I wanted it ready for MegaCon 2018, which was in Memorial Day. It was Memorial Day weekend. What happened was the material had come through. The muscle suit wasn't finished. A guy, Hurley FX, Lee Hurley, amazing cosplayer, wasn't finished. Didn't have it on time. So I took a Dawn of Justice suit and some haunted house red blood paint and sliced and diced up a Dawn of Justice suit. I had the cowl, I had the belt, so I had a backup. I was able to actually get from starting back from it was March. So I started in March on it in 2018. It wasn't finished. The costume you guys have seen the pictures of, it wasn't finished until right around 4th of July weekend. And that was when I was actually, what was kind of cool is when I did that MegaCon, which was kind of a hybrid version of that Dark Knight Returns, is when I met Vixie and I saw her and I was like, oh my God, that's Carrie Kelly. That is fucking Carrie Kelly. That's fucking Carrie Kelly. And I said, you know what else? She can do a Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I said, hey kid, come over here. I said, you want to go to Fort Lauderdale? You want to do a show in Fort Lauderdale? I paid for her Negasonic Teenage Warhead costume. She made her Carrie Kelly, and she was terrified. She has this she does her hair like so blonde, like it's almost white. Sometimes the silver is white. So she had to put that orange in it. And we went through about like 5 different products where she would test it a little, and she'd go, "No, it's not washing out. It's not washing out."
That's commitment.
Yeah. So it took for the planning and the execution. I'll tell you right now, I've been working 2 years on Moon Knight. Have you guys ever seen
What? Can't wait.
Yes. Thank you.
The XM Studios statue? Have you ever seen it? The Moon Knight. It's very limited. It's about if you ever Google it, just Google XM Studios Moon Knight statue. So the sculptor just did an amazing job on it. I don't mean this like if somebody's listening and you've cosplay Moon Knight, please, it's not a dig. I've never seen it where the way it should be presented. The character gets really what he deserves. So the bodysuit's complete, but the armor, the gauntlets, the leg armor, the belt, some of the actually even I'm gonna go with a 3D print on the helmet or on the mask. But it's been a year in work, and I have right now the bodysuit. I have boots that I haven't finished, and I have the cape with the huge like the Assassin's Creed type cover over the top of it.
Cool.
So I'm hoping that for 2021 season, if there are any shows, I'll be able to debut that.
That'd be amazing. Can't wait for that. All right. So we spoke a lot about your cosplay, the beginnings, your work in cosplay, a good chunk. One misconception with most cosplayers, and you really pretty much answered this question, is they're not, a majority of them, it's said that they don't follow the comics. They just do it. They just do cosplay because from what they see, and it just, and that's what they are. They're just cosplayers. They're not collectors. They're not readers of comics. You obviously are a reader of comics. And from what we're seeing in the back, we got some movie posters and other stuff.
I don't know. Let me see if I can move around a little bit. I think I can do this. Can you see that?
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Now, here's a really cool thing. The dude that sculpted this one's one of my favorites too. Can you see that one?
Oh yeah, when he's
Joker.
That's the Joker.
Oh yeah.
And then this thing's freaking just a
it's huge.
Yeah, that thing.
It's the Juggernaut, bitch.
It's the Juggernaut. And then I love Magneto, dude. We could do another show on. You'll have to do another show, which is the Magneto show. I just love the character. But yeah, I'm a hardcore fan, hardcore collector. The Batman head, dude. The guy that sculpted. You've seen the new. What's the company that just did the Dark Knight Returns, where he's standing on the mutant leader?
The Prime One Studio?
No, that's Iron Studios.
Iron Studios, yeah.
Dude that sculpted my head. He sculpted my head that's going on that Dark Knight Returns.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so sweet. Congrats. That's
so
cool.
Maybe it adds to my vanity a little bit, but I thought, I'll be remembered forever. Hopefully my great-grandchildren will go, that's my great-grandpa there as Batman.
You got to put that on your tombstone.
Maybe.
That is
Make
so
it
cool.
your tombstone.
Do you still read comics by any chance?
I'll grab graphic novels now. Yeah. So and it's I am a little bit behind. I'll tell you what, in the last
we all are.
Last year it's been rough. I mean,
right.
it's so my day job is that I work for a grocery chain, grocer by night or grocer by day, vigilante by night, and like it's just been like full throttle from the beginning of COVID till now. Like the company I work for has been around since '82, and we've had some really good years. The fresh market, if anybody, there's none in LA. There's some in New York. And are you in Dallas, Gramps?
Yes.
So we were in Dallas for a little while, a real short time. We were in Dallas for about a year and then gone. like a specialty market. They're about 20,000 square feet, and it's the best year the company's ever had because everybody's eating at home.
Yeah. Speaking of which, since you're so busy with work, like how's it been without cons? I'm sure you had so many lined up and so many things changed because of that.
What a disappointing year last year. So last year was a really, really big year for me. I had actually done a lot of comp work for Reed Pop, who owns OzCon, which was Australia, Paris Comic Con. And it looked like in 2020, they were actually, I was going to, and when I say getting paid for a male cosplayer. So being a male cosplayer is like being a male Hooters waitress. But getting paid, like that means they're taking care of your flight, they're taking care of your per diem, and they're taking care of your room. They're not dropping any money. I know Allison's at 5 figures when she does a show. So, just saying. So New York looked like that was definitely happening. But it started off, I was doing Dallas. Gramps and I were going to meet in Dallas, which I was, really thrilled about. And then,
I was supposed to go to that too.
Were you really?
Yeah.
And you know what I was bringing? So something I've learned as well is conventions when you're guesting is not a good place to introduce a new cosplay. Go with what the people that know you're following, or that they don't know you're following, what they really love. So like definitely Dark Knight Returns was going there. It's I'd have to say it's my favorite cosplay that I've ever done.
I hope so.
Probably your best, man.
Absolutely. And then I would have probably done, it was a 3-day show. I would have done one Batman, and then possibly the Wolverine's real popular, and Deadpool, I just burn it out. There's too many people that do it.
There's a lot of Deadpool. Yeah.
a lot of Deadpool.
A lot of silly Deadpool.
Yeah. It's don't put me in with those guys.
No.
The ones that do the trains through So let me see. Dallas, Boston, 2 that were really, really that I was really, really jazzed about. The bigger one was I was negotiating with my boss. Sometimes he can be a little rough, but it would have had to be been 2 weeks straight off. Would have been the second Comic-Con that they've ever had in Saudi Arabia. There was a little bit of caution about doing it, because you really got to cross your T's and dot your I's. There's a certain you really have to respect the culture there. And then was definitely going to Vancouver for Fan Expo Canada, which is the largest show in Canada.
Damn.
When you do these shows, and you're an invited guest, and they cover your travel and stuff like that, and but you are able to then like put out a table and obviously like sell prints and stuff like that, right?
It's a great deal. So right, they usually line you all up together. They give you anywhere from a 10x10 booth to an 8x8 booth. The 10x10 is a little bit easier to work with. My wife always goes with me. She works my booth. Killing all that action, but she always goes. She always goes with me, and so saw you guys thought I was single. I'm not.
Just cock blocking.
So
You can't go to the Saudi Arabia show though, right?
You know what? We were in a weird place about it. Like, if he would have signed off on it, it was a little bit of some concern about that.
Yeah.
So it's a 10x10 booth with the table, and then I have an art portfolio out there. I sell prints, and I definitely do all pictures or any type of questions, or if somebody just wants to hang out and talk. That's why I'm there. That's why I'm there. So hopefully, like if you bought a ticket to go to Fan Expo Dallas, I want to make a better experience for you. And
awesome.
One of the reasons they ask me is because they know that I get it. Like people, that's what I'm there for, is to make it a better experience, to make it a convention.
Hopefully, things clear up and we could join you and just have a good time.
That would be fantastic.
So leading into the prints and stuff that you have, we're gonna look over some pictures that you sent us, and we're just just discuss the pics.
This one's really cool.
Ryan Sims is a photographer there. I'm the Green Lantern and Batman.
I was gonna, yeah, okay.
I
It's
saw you there
Alex
twice.
Ross Batman.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex. That's Alex. Alex Ross. Yes.
The Justice.
Awesome
Batman.
poses too. The photographer really knew how to capture the Alex Ross essence too.
He is brilliant. He's one of my favorites, and because he's not just he's also a graphic designer and does a lot of Photoshop work, but he's also an amazing photographer. So it's rare when you can find somebody that does both. You can find amazing photographers, and then you can find amazing graphic designers or guys that work and do composite work or Photoshop. But it's a rarity when they do both really, really well. And then the other two guys, that was
I'm sorry.
oh,
Go back.
that's the Superman of Central Florida, and there's Zach Attack Cosplay. Zach makes a lot of costumes. He actually made my Alex Ross suit. He did the outer suit.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Some talented guys, man.
Yeah. So Dark Knight Returns, another character that I have so much fun doing, and I love it. And it was the very first character I ever showed my face actually doing a cosplay was Gambit, and then my Deadpool, and that's the one going back to 2017, which was just huge. And then Cable, I wish I could have got you another one with the arm on it.
On the cow for the Batman, like where'd you get that done? Because like I gotta find that. I know like DC Collectibles like did like the smaller sets and stuff. But like I want a full size cow like in my background.
There's a couple of sculptors. I'll tell you who did that one. And one is a guy is Hernandez FX. So
oh yeah, he's a great dude.
Keith is an amazing sculptor, and he does his version of the Dark Knight Returns. This is a guy named Tom out of Texas, and he's called the Bat Texan. He doesn't have an Instagram page, but he does have a Facebook business page. And dude, he does every single Batman cowl. He sculpted the remember the badass Nightfall Kelly Jones cowl.
Yeah,
he does that thing with the freaking ears that are about 12 inches each and they curl over. He does the original Detective Comics that early Bob Kane, Bill Finger Batman.
God, look him up.
He does a pretty cool Neil Adams. It's the Bat Texan. You can find him on Facebook.
What are these made of? Is it resin?
Urethane.
Urethane. That's
urethane. Right. I've used a time or two a latex cowl. Latex itself, I'm not a big fan of. Foam latex, you're talking about getting into some serious money with that. But the cool thing when you use the foam latex, you can actually turn your head. And most of these cowls in these pictures you see me in, I can't move my head. I can't turn my head. With the exception of the Arkham Knight cowl, with that one, it's a half cowl, so I can actually move my head.
How well can you hear out of it?
It's echoed. It's funny when I talk, so I hear my own voice echo, and it's not like my voice doesn't carry already. And usually, especially with scared children that are whispering, I can't hear anything. So I'm kind of like hearing impaired Batman.
It kind of explains why Batman speaks so loud.
Well, and that's you're a good person to ask. When you put a costume on like this, does it kind of give you? It would have to give you a little bit more perspective as you read the graphic novel. You're like, yeah, he's going to have ear monitors in. He's going to have this, just to function in this suit.
Absolutely. And it's funny because probably the most functional costume that I've ever put on, honestly, is the Dark Knight Returns costume. So the only thing is 55-year-old Bruce isn't wearing a muscle suit under there, which makes him, just a real nasty SOB to be messing with. But with the gauntlets, with the gloves, with the cowl, you're restricted in a lot of ways, and you've got, like, you can see on the side, you've got blind spots there as well.
Yeah.
You've got blind spots as well. It's Jim Lee Batman. Amazing sculptor on that cowl. Sean Reeves, Reeves FX. Sean actually on this suit. I've got no credit for anything on that, with the exception of the cape and the boots and the black underwear. Sean sculpted the cowl, and that is completely Sean's sculpt of that muscle suit and the outer suit as well. And the belt. Awesome. Sean did the belt. He sculpted that belt as well. He does a lot of which you guys know, does a lot of the Batman Sun work for those guys. And then that's Superman of Central Florida again as Damian.
Awesome.
It's almost like I see these and I'm just like, why can't we just get something like this in a fucking movie?
Yeah, right.
Too simple.
Why is it take so long?
I'm with you. It's the same. I am with you. I'm with you. Even like the Wolverine stuff, I didn't send any of that, but I went through all of that, in some of those real shitty movies, that X-Men Last Stand, and still didn't get a Wolverine costume,
Oh my God. They teased it in I forget which Wolverine movie they teased it in.
The Wolverine, the very end, but it was kind of a, Tony Starkist mecha suit. I was like,
and I think they even deleted that tease. It wasn't until like the Blu-ray release where they added it. But
absolutely.
Anyhow,
photography, I didn't talk much about there. This is Ryan Sims's work. When they did DC Fandom, a lot of Ryan's work was shown. This was one of the pictures that was shown through DC Fandom. That was actually shot. So Ryan comes to Florida. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. He comes to Florida twice a year. He usually stays with Susan and I, and we clear out our living room and we turn it into a photography studio for about 2 days. We actually did it this year, even with COVID. We all took the precautions, but we had 2 like mini cons. One that we called Dragon Mark, which would have been when Dragon Con went. And then the other one was right around Christmas, which was Hallmark. And we got some really cool material out of that.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Very, very awesome. Classic.
This is amazing.
So that's
so
my wife.
Good.
That's my wife right there.
Cool.
That's so cool. You guys do that together.
So the cowl is really the centerpiece of that costume. And that is Chuck Williams. Chuck Williams, you guys know who Chuck is?
No.
Oh, that's cool. So I'll introduce you to something. So Chuck and his wife, for probably they're close to getting ready to retire, for at least the last 35 years, all they've done is they make. She's a seamstress. He's I don't know what you'd call what he does, but he owned the original pink cowl from the 66 Batman series. And he was able to cast that. So he went digging and searching to find the same material that they used on Adam West's suit. So now that cowl is not the Adam West material. So that one runs you about $600. He has an Etsy page, but for about $1,700, you can get the cowl made in the same material they used for Adam West's suit back in the 60s.
Worth it.
And if you're really going to dump some money, he'll do the trunks and the cape for you in the same material. And I know he's getting ready to run out of it. I know he doesn't have much of it left. And then Susan did a lot of the work on her Catwoman. That's you can kind of do a little jumping around on Google and find out where to order the right material for the Julie Newmar or Lee Merriweather or Eartha Kitt Catwoman. And Susan put it together, and but the cowl is really, and then the photographer is probably one of my best friends. He's out of New York. He lives in the Bronx. His name's Jason Laboy, and he is truly brilliant and what a gifted photographer. Any of his work that you see that I'm in, you can see his watermark there. There's no Photoshop in that. It's usually he takes for a pose. I've never seen him take any more than 3 pictures. So, and
Wow.
I've been with photographers that, they want to take 20 pictures in one pose and then pick the best out of the 20, or get lucky that one out of the 20 they'll really like. Jason, like, he really sees it. This
Holy
was
shit.
in Atlanta is where we shot that at.
Wow.
But he's amazing.
So for a suit like this, how do you store this so it doesn't like get damaged? Because this, I don't know, for some reason this one seems like, maybe it's just because it's awesome, but like I would really be careful with how I store it so I don't damage it.
So I'm not going to. I have a cosplay room that looks like a fucking bomb went off in it, but I have portable clothing racks, something similar you'd see in a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx, and then I have shelves. So for the cows, all the cows go on like a wig holder. So there's shelves of cows, and then there's another set of shelves of gauntlets. Then there's a rack that comes across for belts, and then all the costumes themselves go into garment bags, the cheaper plastic garment bags, and they're all hung up. And depending on with some costumes, the accessories go in there as well. So whether it's utility belts and stuff like that, depending on what the belt's made out of, like all the cable stuff is in one garment bag.
Got it. This one looks.
So, when you were asking me about cosplayers that inspire me, that is not my suit. And I'll tell you how I ended up. I'm really thrilled with the way it came out. And I'll say with as much humility as I can muster is that fucking suit looks like a beast, when I got it on. But it is not my suit. It's the Nashville Night suit.
I knew it. I was like, wait a minute, that looks like Nashville. Yeah, he's another good dude.
That's Nick's suit, and God bless him, man. The guy that you saw in the couple pictures before, the Damian Wayne and the Superman, he was really forever trying to put together this Justice League shoot, and just was his. He was doing any and everything he could to make it happen. We knew Ryan was coming down from Nashville to shoot it. I was going to do the not the armor suit, but just the Justice League Affleck Batman suit, and man, I don't know that I would have been able to put it together in time. And there was a couple things I never liked that cowl. I love the Dawn of Justice cowl, and I just thought, what the hell? Let me message Nick. Nick and I are actually friends. We met at Dragon Con. So I shot him a text message and really expecting him to say, oh man, I'd really love to, but I can't do that. And he was like, no, sure, Mark. And Ryan, Nashville Night lives in Nashville. Ryan lives in Nashville. Ryan picked the suit up from Nick and brought it down. We are about 1 inch of a different, and he's a 33-inch waist and I'm a 34. And so it all worked out. Yeah. They were both 6'1". Nick might be 6'2", but it was, it worked out. And when I saw it on me, I was just like, I wasn't really even crazy about the suit in the movie, but I'll tell you what, when we got it on and shot it, I dug it. There's very little mobility in that suit whatsoever. You'll see, like in any poses that I'm in, they're very minimal, but just because my movement was so restricted.
How heavy is it, like in a suit like that?
It's thick. So here's the cool thing. So that armor, you would think like a 3D print type of thing. All that armor is urethane. So it's like a thick, heavy rubber over the top of a muscle suit. It is a heavy suit. Nick did an amazing job. Nick actually took that's a couple different people's work under there. There's a guy out of Mexico, is Napier's Incorporated, that made that suit underneath the undersuit, and then Applied Science, what is his AS Divisions, casted and painted and molded all that armor on the outside, and Nick glued every bit of that on that suit. And I mean, it is on there. Especially when you're like taking these things from, and Nick travels a lot. Nick did, I think one year he did like MegaCon in Orlando, New York Comic Con, Dragon Con, Might have even done. He did Chicago. What's the one in Chicago? C2E2.
Yes,
I mean, it's a really it's probably the best Justice League armored suit I think that anybody has, or it's out there.
I'm gonna have to ask a question about something like this. I mean, you're putting yourself in just a bag of heat when you wear something like this. How if I just look at this and I feel my balls hard boiling,
dude?
How do you deal with like the heat and like being stuck in this thing all day? Like, how does that work?
So there's a payoff, especially like when you're in your 50s and you're trying to not like get that big gut and everything, that you get to eat pizza after you've worn that thing for 12 or 13 fucking hours. But I started off when I started cosplaying, I could only do the Christian Bale Batman for about 3 hours. And I really had to work myself up to it. So yeah, you probably are setting in. It has to be at least like 130, 140 degrees, no different, I think, than a firefighter. And I'm just like little kids sometimes. They'll come up, and when I have to bend over, I have to cut the nose out of all the cows because the sweat used to pull up, and I'd bend over, and it was like somebody pouring water on them.
Oh my God.
It rained.
Yeah, and you can imagine now with COVID, like people would really freak their shit, the sweat starts pouring down on them. But it was definitely a process. I'm actually even concerned, like the day that I did this shoot, I was only in that suit for about 2 hours that day, and I was definitely feeling it.
What do you do if sorry? What do you do like if you have to use the restroom? Like,
well,
what the fuck?
So you don't, because you're sweating so much.
Oh my God.
You don't. You'll actually go 10 or 11 hours. You won't have to pee. It's only the first hour that you got to worry about. So like no monsters or no fucking coffee or any of that shit before you put it on and start your day. Or then it's Susan following me to the men's room with me doing this really funky, awkward kind of lean over. I can't do it in a urinal, over a toilet, right? And people like looking, going, "What the fuck is that guy doing?" And that lady holding his cape. But it's quite the song.
I gotta see this.
That's what the cape's for.
Down to your knees. And then she's got to kind of go in between your legs and like hold it so you don't piss on it.
Oh my God!
It's only a couple times have I had it happen. Thank God that the Deadpool has a zipper in it, so you can pee in Deadpool.
I totally want to make a toy photo of like that.
Batman taking a piss.
When you gotta go and you parole.
Yeah, Catwoman's got to hold his cape.
Hilarious.
Actually, I think Batman would just hang it off the edge and just boom.
Well, and he might wear an adult diaper too. I'll tell you, I entertained it a couple times and I just couldn't do it. A couple times I thought, you know what? If it happened and I really had to piss, I'd have it on. I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So not until I have to, I won't be wearing one.
Just piss in it, make it Alfred's problem.
So Thomas Wayne. So I tell you, there's a funny little story behind this, right? I was planning on doing this cosplay. And then all of a sudden, here comes Kevin Porter and Bat in the Sun. And I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. Same dude doing the armor on the outside of it. And they, they do a really great job. Their production quality and their work, and they kept it real quiet. So what I did was I just went on and went with it. And what I did was I changed the cowl. Kevin used a Reeves FX Hush version 2 cowl, where that's Sean Reeves's vigilante cowl. And in the upcoming Bat in the Sun Batman, what is it called? What's the name of it?
Dying is Easy.
Dying is Easy. Kevin's wearing that cowl, and he's a great guy too.
He is.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he really is. So yeah, this again is Ryan's work. We shot this in my living room. This was the one we shot over the summer, or right near end of August, Labor Day weekend, right around there. And we shot that in the living room. And then you look at his graphic design and his composite work. It's too bad. If I should have thought of it, I could have sent you some before and afters. But the costume itself is it's pretty gnarly. And then with that, I put in. You guys know what a Scalara is?
No.
So a scalar is like this full eyeball contact. So like if you ever see like in some movies where someone's eyes go
fuck
completely
that.
black. Yeah. So my wife, you have to hold my eyelid up, and then she shoves it under my eyelid. So I have these black with just red eyes. In as far as the lenses go, but
that's what I wanted to compliment you a lot on your Dark Knight Returns. I mean, you had full white out eyes, and like you got to have white eyes. You got to have wide-eyed Batman.
Wide-eyed Batman.
Absolutely. Like actually with almost every character I do, with the exception of Ben's Batman, or the Bale Batman, I think that it's more of the staying true to the comic by whiting the eyes out. With Gambit, I usually do again a full Scalara with a black and red. I think in the photo that you showed, I actually just did red eyes in that. With Cable, I only had to do one eye. With Magneto, I always white my eyes out as well, because you always think about when he's really just getting ready to wreak some carnage on something, that his eyes go completely white, or he rolls them back in his head.
Had to save some of the best for last.
Yes, this is it right here.
We tried to follow it up the year after. This was just so Vixie and I did a 4th of July where we introduced this, and we did it, and we were both really jazzed about doing it at Dragon Con, and she ended up on her way up. She was coming up on Friday. Dragon Con usually runs from Thursday till Labor Day. And her car broke down. So Saturday, we were really hustling to get everything together. And we were in the Hyatt. Have you guys ever been to Dragon Con?
No.
Oh my God. It's not really a comic book convention. It's like Mardi Gras for nerds. It is just nothing but drinking, puking, and dressing up like superheroes. It is all, they take all of downtown Atlanta and shut it down and just turn it over to us. So we were in the Hyatt, and we had, who was it? The dude from Beverly Hills 90210 and Sharknado, Ian Zangenberg, or Ian. Yeah. So like we couldn't get him away from us. He kept like hanging out, wanted to hang out. He was stealing shots, but it really got, we were hanging out at the Hyatt, and people thought, it was a really big deal. And then we went to meet with Jason Laboy again from the Bronx in New York. Did this shot. He did a bunch of different shots. This is one of the iconic ones. There's a full body one too that is just amazing. I think, Gramps, I sent you one. Yes.
Yeah.
And
you did. You sent me a print.
Afterwards we shot this in a parking garage that was exposed to the street. The lighting was just right. I have a 24-year-old son that was holding an umbrella light over the top of us, and it was actually at Dragon Con. Dragon Con had it posted all over their social media, like everything it did. It really is. It's every time I look at it, I kind of get a little like melancholy, and it's just it was such a great night. Yeah. Such a great night.
This is what I like to call next level cosplay, when it's just like it's so spot on, and it's so accurate, but it's also so like damn epic.
Yeah.
And is this her actual height?
That is her height. Absolutely.
That's perfect. Like she's perfect. So you literally, when you start walking around, boom, like you knew.
She was Tinkerbell for Disney for a while. She worked as a character for Disney, and then she was doing R2-D2 on a cruise ship and hurt herself. But that's her height, and the thing is like, so what was such great synergy between the two of us is we were like the entire time we're in character. Like she gets being a 13-year-old girl who's looking for this old man's approval, and I get this that I've been alone for a while, and the last kid that I trained to do this is dead, and I mean it's just like we go all out.
Yeah.
She does an
yeah.
awesome Spider-Man too,
She is.
or Spider-Girl. I mean, I don't know.
She calls it Spidey. That's what
Spidey.
she says. She goes Spidey. Yeah.
It's awesome because she's like a little gymnast.
This is and when Gramps shared this in our chat months ago, I said to myself, "This is the best cosplay photo I've ever seen."
Yeah,
hands down. It was like we saved this one for last because it was like this is the best thing we've seen. Like, holy shit!
I'm not afraid to say I'm not like that big into cosplay. I love it when it's good, but it's just like it's like pizza, right? You like certain pizza, you don't like certain pizza. Everyone loves pizza, but sometimes you have a slice and you're like, holy shit, this is the best slice of pizza I've ever had. This is the best cosplay photo I've ever seen. It's just everything about it.
It has a lot of emotion. I mean, it tells a story.
Yeah.
This was our follow-up the year after. So Vixie's boyfriend is actually standing in my Dark Knight Returns costume with a black balaclava over his head to cover his whole face.
Really?
Oh, shit, that's so creative. They're gonna just stand there. We're gonna crop you out of this.
Bag over your head.
Couple of them.
Don't breathe.
And,
like whose idea was this photo?
This was Jason. This was Jason's idea.
Wow.
Yeah, Jason put together the year before the Dark Knight Returns with Carrie Kelly, with the Carrie Kelly Robin and all those poses. And we were in Boston. Jason came and stayed with me in Boston. It was the first year I did Deathstroke, and he was like, dragons in a month, and we got to like, how are we ever going to top what we did last year? And what if we did this? And this is it. This is what we did. And it was definitely, I can tell you, in between my ears, and through every fiber of my body, standing in that picture for that moment, I am Bruce Wayne. I am Bruce Wayne.
Looks just like what we expect Bruce Wayne to look like in DKR.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to wear a muscle suit, so you didn't have to sweat your ass off.
I did. I just look, and I think that with my build, I look like a 55-year-old man.
That's you, no muscle suit.
Say it again.
That's you with no muscle suit.
It is.
Good for you, man.
So you are fit. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're super fit in this picture.
Jesus.
That's why that's like it's just perfect because the lighting makes you look a little older. So the lighting gives you the perfect Dark Knight Returns Bruce look, and then it's just like you're super fit anyway.
I don't know about that. It's like I'm no Sly Stallone. I'm more like 55-year-old dude that's that's just shy of a man boob, but it's still okay. You're right there.
Sly's had a lot of help though.
That's awesome. So speaking of Jason here, is Jason like is he into comics too? Like in order to imagine these photos, or is it just how artistic he is?
I hope he does. It is. It's how artistic he is. I think Jason's into female cosplayers.
I know that game.
No, he'd probably get mad at me if I said that. He is a diehard Zack Snyder fan, and
hell yeah,
and the going back from 300 to Watchmen. To the Dawn of Justice and Justice League. He's a diehard Zack Snyder fan. He's that whole, I guess you would say, Zack Snyder universe. He loves all of it. He does a lot of work with Liz Wonder.
Yeah, just saw that. I was like, holy crap, I do recognize this guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His name is very familiar now that you mention it. And you could tell he's got that similar eye. Zack Snyder loves bringing like comic book images to life, and definitely feel that in this one for sure.
He's an amazing guy. He's a really, really good friend, and I guess that's one of the real blessings about cosplay is that the group of people that I surround myself with today, for whatever reason, I do think part of it's the cosplay community and who's in that community. They're real friends. They're real friends. They're very live and let live, and very little judging. I mean, I'm sure there's groups, but the people that I surround myself with, I can't think of ever having better friends in my life.
That's awesome. It's awesome to have that sense of community and that network
Absolutely.
where you guys support one another. So what's next? So what's like a dream cosplay that you haven't done yet?
Well, I'll tell you that so I really am. I'm completely crazy about this Moon Knight, a little obsessed with it. And it's funny because I hit some peaks a little earlier on, and I've had a couple dry spots. When I was doing Deathstroke, that was just like so into that. I dig the Titans Deathstroke costume. I don't know that I don't know that I ever felt that Isai Morales did it the way I wanted it done, if that's fair. And that's, who am I? Not that he's a great Deathstroke. I would have loved to have seen, what's the Wolfman's name? The Zack Snyder Deathstroke he was going to use.
Joe Magnet.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen how that worked out. So the Moon Knight's a pretty big project. And then I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I'm trying to think, and I might be stuck at a moment. Just recently put together the Alex Ross Batman. It needs some tweaks to it. The cowl needs. I need to do a different cowl. It's way too tight.
Have you thought of ever doing any like villains, rogues?
Well, I kind of. I think Deathstroke was my first villain. I entertained a couple times the Joker. I think I could capture that. It's funny, like in that cosplay community, like earlier we were talking about those Deadpool cosplayers. There's definitely that group of Joker cosplayers. I don't know if I'm quite that twisted. I don't want to end up like Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
And I kind of saw Magneto as a villain as well. It is anti-hero / villain. And then 2021, it looks like the only thing so far I've been booked for is, but just because we don't know what the year looks like, is Fan Expo has me down for MegaCon Orlando, which is scheduled for August, but we don't know how that's going to go yet.
Yeah.
That might be the first one I have to go to then. I have to go to a con. I'm like itching.
If you guys do that, so you got to come. If you want to, you got your backpacks or any of that, you can drop it. Like our booth is that's where all the cool kids hang out. It's just it is a small party inside the convention, and we'll sneak a few brewskis in for you. They'll be in cans, not in bottles, but and maybe a flask here or there.
Still goes down the same, though.
Yeah, it does.
Good.
We keep the Patron on ice, so it's chilled when you know.
For the ladies. Awesome. Well, before we start closing up, let everyone know where to find you. Handles, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
So Twitter, it's I'm not as active on Twitter as I should be. It's Mark Knight Rise. For some reason I ran out of letters, or somebody else had Mark Knight Rises, so it's Mark Knight Rise. Mark Knight Rises is a DJ, but Mark Knight Rise. On Instagram, I'm Mark_Knight_Rises. And that's usually where a lot of my traction comes from and a lot of my following's from. I can't seem to bring myself to do videos, so there's no TikTok yet, but who knows, maybe coming soon. And I have it's Mark Knight Rises on Facebook is my fan page, there.
Awesome. And of course, the last question or advice. I need advice or anything you have for cosplayers or anyone who's nervous or shy or trying to figure out what they're going to do once the world reopens and the con world exists. And anything, any message or anything you have for those people out there.
Absolutely. It's funny. And I think I got a little more twisted about it than I should have. You really want to just it doesn't matter, quality doesn't matter, anything else is just do it. You do it for fun, You do it for fun, and put yourself out there and do it. It's definitely for everyone. There isn't. I think sometimes we can be self-conscious about how we look in a certain costume or so many things. It's probably not like the best example. Like, I wear a wig. I'm actually bald. If you stalk my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see some older pictures without hair. So that kind of happened with cable, and so I do it. But it's just do you. Have fun. It's for fun. And it's for everybody. Definitely
Nice.
for everybody.
Nice. Speaking about no hair, I actually saved my head because an old fraternity brother of mine made fun of my receding hairline. So fuck you, Brad.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
So I'll tell you, even with the whole thing started, it wasn't that I was self-conscious about the because I had maybe a little bit of hair, but it was receding. It was gone. I used to keep it cropped pretty short. And the first time I put one of these on, a lot of people were like, dude, you look like 10 years younger. And then, from looking in the mirror, I was like, well, fuck it. You know what? I feel 10 years younger, but you got to own it. Like, if you're going to do this, you can't be going around scared that somebody's going to notice you have a wig on. Like, if you don't own it, you're just going to be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
And I think they make them in Wuhan, so I don't know if I'll even be able to get a new one soon or not.
That's awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us, giving us your experiences, everything you've been through, giving us people that we should reach out to, giving great advice for the future of cosplay in the community. Thank you so much for your time. Before we wrap up the last podcast, I forgot to thank someone. I want to thank Lib from the Geek Set podcast on the intro of our of the Everything Batman. There's a beat that comes in right when Kevin Conroy starts talking. He created that beat for us. He gave it to me. Very nice of him. Just goes to show you another podcast, another community member helping each other out. That's what we're looking for. I also want to thank one of our biggest fans of the Bat Force and Grumps and Gramps, and this podcast. Want to thank Cole, always out there shouting us out and doing stuff. I want to thank Jake, my friend Mina, Bill, Lewis, another cosplayer from Louisiana area that reached out to me and got a lot of positive feedback. I want to thank Michelle and the IPA master. You know who you are. Guys, like, comment, send me DMs, subscribe, send me DMs on who you want on the show. Send them DMs, tell them you want them on the show. Tell me to message them to get them on the show. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good night. We're out.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Nice seeing you guys. Nice to meet you. Talk to you soon.